Hello, my name is Max Holsworth, and I will be focusing on homeschooling. But not just homeschooling in general, but more so the idea of the cause and effects of homeschooling. So now, of course, homeschooling has been around for centuries to come, and it was the only way to actually get an education at one point, whether it was from their actual parents teaching the children or a hired tutor if they had the money. But now, of course, as everyone knows, public education is a very relevant thing. We have now, as a society, constructed buildings that serve a sole purpose of educating children. So you'd think with these buildings, why would some parents still opt out and choose to do homeschooling instead? What caused them to make this decision? Well, in the 1970s, John Holt, an educational theorist, made a claim that the classroom environment can be quite oppressive. And this claim was not just a claim, but instead it started more so a movement. There was a newsletter that revolved around this claim, and other educational theorists eventually started to join in, such as Raymond Moore. I think 7 years later, he mentioned that homeschooling can provide a foundation for educational, psychological, and moral standings for children that you can get in a public education, but it's going to be harder to make sure that that is the outcome. And these, as I mentioned, this was a bit of a movement, and you can see the success in this movement because every year there is a 7 to 15% increase in the amount of people that are choosing to do homeschooling rather than public schooling. So what are the effects of homeschooling? That is, should we be opting out to do homeschooling instead? Is there positive effects or negative effects? Well, there are a lot of rumors and misconceptions with homeschooling, and one of the biggest ones being that it will harm someone's social development, that their social skills will not be as well developed and well-rounded as someone who went to public education. And this is not accurate. It's actually somewhat been proven to be quite the opposite, that homeschooled children will have more self-confidence and will be more comfortable in their skin because they grew up in a household where their peers were mainly their family and they provided them with a lot of love and attention, instead of going to public schools, where I'm sure everyone who's listening to this can relate to, is not always the easiest thing to deal with your friends and peers and all the things that come with being in a public education setting. But not only did the people who went to homeschooling develop their social skills properly, they actually performed better academically than most public education students. They had higher GPAs, higher ACT scores, and they had higher graduation rates across the board. So overall, the effects are quite positive, actually. One of the main drawbacks, I would say, about homeschooling is the time and money that you would have to give up. Because you have to either give up your own time to become the teacher for your child, or you're going to have to hire someone to become the tutor for them personally at home. So these are the cause and effects of homeschooling. Thank you.